What's up, guys? So my name's Brandon and I'm a used car dealer, and this is my used car dealership. Well, it's my wife's used car dealership, but I just work here. So job security, right? I've always been told you need to marry the profession that you want and not the profession that you have. So what I usually do on my channel is I give you used car market updates from the perspective of a used car dealer. I'm able to go inside these used car dealer auctions and see the wholesale prices, and by putting pieces together, we can see what's happening at these auctions and be able to predict what's going to happen in the market going forward. So what I will usually do is give you guys some storylines, show you what's happening, what's showing up at these auctions, and then from that we'll be able to say, okay, well, because of this, this is going to happen in the market, or this is happening in the market, and what should you do about it? And at the end of the video, I'll usually give you some advice, tell you what you should do, what you shouldn't do, what I'm doing, what kind of preparations I'm making to deal with whatever changes are happening in said market. But today we're going to do the inverse of that. I'm going to give you the advice first, and then we'll talk about the pieces that I'm putting together and the reasons for the advice. But if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Please like this video, helps the algorithm. And leave us a comment, leave us a question down in the comments, because what we do is we pick out a few questions every week and we try to answer them at the end of the week. So instead of us going through all of the comments and being able to answer them, it's impossible for me now. You guys have blown me away with the support. Then we're actually pulling your questions and I'm going to answer them in a video. So leave us a question, like the video, subscribe, and let's get going. So what is my advice for you as the consumer, as someone who wants to buy a used vehicle right now? And it's easy, it's wait. And it doesn't matter which type of vehicle that you're wanting to buy. I don't care if it's top of the line new car. I don't care if it's a $3,500 car. I don't care if it's a $2,500 car. I want you to wait. I don't want you to buy a used car from me right now. I don't want you to buy a used car from any other used car dealer. I don't want you to buy a car from a new car dealer. The reason being is, even me seeing all these cheap prices that I have on my cars right now, I know that 6 months from now, 12 months from now, these prices are going to be cheaper than they are right now. And the same thing is going to go for new cars. The same thing is going to go for the high-end market, the low-end market, the mid-tier market, whatever market you're in, because the demand has dried up so dramatically that these car dealers, they're not selling anything. And the reason why I know this is because what we're starting to see at these used car auctions is vehicles come through with stickers still on them. We're seeing them with feature cards still on them, meaning that these cars were on these dealers' lots, prepped and ready to sell, and they couldn't sell them. So as their interest payments start stacking up, you can check some of my other videos for that. We talk about floor plan. Floor plan's basically just a credit line that a dealer has, and if they don't sell a car within a certain amount of time, they start having to pay interest on it. So their costs for cars go up the longer period of time that they'll have them on their lot. So right now we're at a time period where used car prices are coming down, new car prices are coming down. We're seeing it in the market, but they're still ridiculously high. And I've seen a lot of videos predicting this market crash, whatever. It's not going to happen. It's going to be a slow churn down. And the reason that I know this is because we don't have any kind of influx of inventory coming in the system, especially for used cars. Because what used car dealers actually need to be able to have inventory is they need new car dealers to sell their vehicles, because the way that we buy our cars is from auction, and the way that cars get to auction are trade-ins. And if a new car dealer is not selling any cars, they're not getting any trade-ins. Now, I know we've been seeing all the reports, the auto loan delinquencies are going up, the repo rate's going up, and that is true. But the void that has been left by the lack of trade-ins, the lack of demand from these new car dealers selling cars, even if we get a massive spike in repos, they can't fill that void of how many trade-ins that we are actually missing from the market right now. So even with that lack of demand that is happening at these new car stores, at these used car dealer stores, your prices are going to continually go down. But like I said earlier, there's not going to be any crash because there's not any great influx of inventory that's being pushed into the system. So when I see all these things about prices crashing, when exactly you should buy a car, it's not going to work like that. So just to give you an example, now I know this is comparing two completely different markets, but bubbles take a long time to deflate. Even in the 2008 market crash, when there was so much debt, there's so many debt issues in the system. People lost their houses. It took 3 whole years for the market to actually bottom. Now, the used car market is going to take way less time than that. Obviously, it's an asset that's way cheaper than a house, but it's still going to have to take time to move through the system. So when you're seeing these trucks, these used trucks that are being sold for $50,000, $60,000, you're not going to just wake up 2 months from now and be able to buy them for 30 grand. It's not going to happen like that. And sadly to say, we're probably not going to get back to what we saw pre-pandemic with pricing. We're going to come way down from here. We're going to come down 30, 40%, hopefully. But you're not going to see prices that we saw pre-pandemic. You're probably never going to see a new truck again for $26,000, for $30,000, even if it's the bottom base package. That's probably not going to happen. And I can tell you too, the biggest problem with this is we have to go against human nature. And if you want a car right now, I know it's hard to wait. So I'll just give you a look behind the curtain. This is my truck. This is a 2014 GMC, and it is pushing 200,000 miles. Another thing that's happening is it's starting to burn a little bit of oil. Another thing that's happening is every other week something's breaking on it. So I am ready to be done with it. I'm too busy with now YouTube, my used car dealership, my family, to be able to deal with that. So I just want to buy something that I can pay for and it's just going to run and be fine and I'm not have to deal with. But like you guys, I have to be patient. That's one of the hardest things that I could ever do. So even to the point where last week I was looking at this truck and I'm like, you know what? I don't care if I pay more for it right now. I just want to buy something else. Obviously, I'm not going to buy a truck because that's just throwing away money right now. I'm not going to pay $50,000, $60,000 for a nice truck. So I thought, okay, SUV. I got a lot of equipment I got to carry now too with making these videos, so I can do an SUV, and started looking at those, and they're also ridiculous. So I know you're asking, Brandon, you're a used car dealer, why don't you just go to a used car dealer auction? The problem with that is I do not get to pick what goes to these used car dealer auctions. So if there's a certain type of vehicle I want, there's a certain miles I want, a certain color, certain features, whatever package I want, then I can't just go find that. I would have to wait for it and basically just gamble on whatever's going to come to the auction, which if something comes through that I love, I'm going to buy it. And if I do that, then obviously I'll let you guys know. I'll let you know what I paid for it. So the route that I would have to take right now if I wanted to buy a vehicle myself is I would have to go to one of these big new car dealer stores and pay probably $5,000, $10,000 more than what I can get at the auction. My second problem is that I got to get rid of that truck, and I know it's burning oil, so I don't want to sell it to one of my customers. So I would either have to dump it at auction, which I'm an independent dealer, and when an independent dealer sends something to auction, it doesn't really bring any money. So my truck might be worth $15,000. It's only going to bring $7,000, $8,000 to the auction, so I'm losing a ton of money there. Or I could trade it in which case they'll probably give me $11,000, $12,000 for it, losing more money there too, but I'm not dumping it to one of my customers that I don't want to have to deal with the issues that I know is going on with it. So thought about it and not going to do it. So I'm going to do exactly what I'm advising you to do right now, and that is wait. And if you have a vehicle right now that is running, even if you have to do minor fixes to it, I want you to fix that car, because it's way cheaper for you to fix whatever issues are going on with that vehicle than it is for you to buy a new car right now. It is for you to buy these elevated prices of these used vehicles. So I'm advising everyone, I know you've heard it 20 times now, take a drink when you hear it, wait. And I'm really thinking that the first time that we're even going to consider me saying that, okay, you can start looking for cars, is going to be at least 6 months. So if you can, I think end of this year, end of 2023 is going to be one of the better times to be able to buy a new vehicle, buy a used vehicle. You want the market to work through some of this fluff, this froth. So in the stock market, anytime there's a massive bubble, it's because there's so much leverage in the system. And we now know that in the used car market, there is a ton of leverage in the system in the form of these floor plans. These dealers are overexposed and they've been called up in inventory that they can't sell. So what's got to happen for this bubble to deflate or maybe crash? Probably not, because there's no inventory, but let's say just deflate and keep deflating at a constant rate, is that sadly enough, a lot of these dealers are going to have to go out of business, because we have to take that froth out of the system. We have to take that fluff out of the system. Another thing too, sadly, is that a lot of these customers that are upside down in these loans, they're going to have to default, because there is no market I feel like going forward, that can sustain people owing $50,000 over on their car what it's worth. And that's where we are right now. People are underwater on their cars, and as the market continues to go down, they're going to be even more underwater on their cars, and they can't catch up with it. You're not going to get any kind of price spikes either way. So it's just going to be a slow trend down, and you just have to be patient. And I know it sucks. I don't want to be patient either. I want a new vehicle, and I am tired of repairing mine all the time. Now, I know that there are some of you out there, and I've seen in the comments, you have to buy a car right now. And if you're in that position where you can't wait, so what I am going to advise you to do is shop around. We did a video last week where we went to multiple new car dealers, and some of them are charging above MSRP and some of them are charging at MSRP. So if you're a new car buyer, I don't advise that either. I would rather you buy something cheap, pay cash for it. But even in that instance, I still want you to shop around, because there are going to be used car dealers out there that are still trying to gouge people, that still maybe have way too much money in their cars, that they're not going to be even able to give you a good deal. Even if you go in there, you have cash, and you offer them $500 less than what the car is, they should be able to sell it. But if they're underwater in already and they don't have money to begin with to come up with a difference to play off their floor plan, then their hands are tied and they can't sell it for anything cheaper than what they're trying to sell it for already. So I'm just urging you, if you have to buy a car, make sure you shop around, try to get the best price. Look on the internet. You'll be able to see most of the best prices that you'll see before you get to the lot. The internet price is generally the best price, and really just, I mean, to tie it back in, just shop around, do your research, make sure you get the car checked out, buy a mechanic before you buy it. That's very important, because you can buy a turd from any used car dealer very quickly. You can buy a turd from anybody. You can buy one from an individual too. Your mama that you've known, well, obviously you've known your mama all your life, but she's taking care of this car forever, but doesn't know one little issue that's going on and the car's about to implode. So just, I urge you, if you can wait. If you can't wait, get it checked out by a mechanic, shop around. I think I've rambled enough now. If you've paid attention to the end of this, thank you so much for all your support. Thank you so much for subbing to the channel. If you haven't already, please sub. Big shout out to Kevin, the homework guy. He gave us a big shout out on his channel, and we really like to see the community come together and be able to try to help you guys out, because that's really what we're trying to do. And just thank you guys for everything.